This one is a video request. It's been on my notes for quite a while, so if you requested it, sorry for taking so long, and thanks for the request. It's a really great topic. It's it's as simple as asking what age should you accomplish certain things, and why is there an age for accomplishing certain things? This is such a multifaceted conversation because really it's one of those uh, questions that I think drives a lot of it's the driving force behind a lot of self-hatred in the world right now. Because, what does it mean to act your age? Like, I have met people like 20, 30 years older than me, married with children, who act like children, who act less mature than I do, who are less mature than I do, I could say, right? I've also met people who are younger than me who are just like, it's like they're miles ahead of me, right? What age, like, and it's so weird how education is enforced in this economy, but they enforce education for the young because they are the working population. They don't enforce education for the old, right? You might think, oh, what's the need to educate them? Well, they're the ones with the most wealth in the fucking world, aren't they? Right? A freaking world. Oh, God damn it. They're the ones with the wealth and the political power and you name it, right? Like most places. I mean, I don't know, unless like really, where is there a place where it's like people in the like 30s and 40s that are running the like I mean in charge of the economy, right? Calling the shot, very few, right? Why is it that there's like an age cutoff to lose your virginity, to uh to kiss the opposite gender, maybe the same gender, I don't know, right? Why is there this like, if you haven't done it by like age, I don't know, 15 or 16. And that's the weird thing. I'm just saying it so comfortable, but we all know this is a fact and the age is getting younger. If you don't believe me, you can look up, because it's called not losing your virginity. It's called sexual age of sexual debut, right? You can look up how the rates of sexual debut has been dropping. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw it, but like, take for example, if the age of losing virginity was like 17 20 years ago, now it's like 14. I don't know the actual numbers, so you'd have to look them up. Why the hell is that a thing? And the funny thing is, that's like the start of your journey into like emotional, mental, probably even physical trauma, financial like turmoil, drug addictions, right? And I'm not even saying this to sound like, oh, look at those NPCs with their hand holding and their hugging and tongue kissing. No, like this is literally what they're telling me. It's literally what I can't say it's literally what I've experienced, because like I limit my intimate relationships for various reasons. I've experienced some degree of it, and then I was like, you know what? No, it's not going to work out like this. It's really not. Every other person I talk to, they're like, yo, what is what the hell is the point of having this like early sexual debut age? Why? Why? Right? Oh yeah, you can now reproduce or something, like, or like you can copulate. Congrats. And imagine you start young, like 13, 14. By the time you're age 24 and you've been doing it that consistently, of course you're going to be burnt out. Of course you're going to be emotionally drained. Of course you are. Man, woman, whatever. Of course you are. Because humans, the vast majority of humans, are not built to do that. Like psychopaths are, sure. Narcissists, people who require a steady supply of external validation, no matter what's the source of it. Sometimes the more sadistic the source, the better, right? So why? Why does that exist? Why is there an age limit to playing video games? Why? I mean, it makes so let me get this straight. It makes sense for you to be an adult creating video games, but it doesn't make sense for you, an adult, to be able to buy and play those video games. Huh? I mean, sure, I'm sure maybe some video game creators probably got the like, oh, get a real job or something, but like video games are like a multi-billion-dollar business. What the fuck are you talking about? Being a YouTuber is like the new, like literally kids are saying they want to be YouTubers now. They're not talking about like pilots, and which it probably is. It's a really good thing, to be honest. Like people are actually chasing things that they really desire to do, or maybe they're young, whatever, right? We didn't have this option 10 years ago. It wasn't like you could not be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do YouTube. I mean, if you did it 10 years ago, right now, and you were consistent, you'd probably be really well off right now, right? Probably one of the YouTube pioneers or something. Like the monetized YouTube pioneers. So, what the hell is like, oh, you got to stop doing, uh, childish things, or just drop the childish act. And yet most of the people we interact with on a daily basis are incredibly petulant. What the hell are we dropping? Like, is it just the aesthetic? Do we just have the aesthetic of growing up? I really think that's the case. I can't tell you, like, I've seen people with like immense wealth, massive houses, nice cars, but yet in their houses they're just miserable. They're crying like little babies. Why? Why is there an age to lose your virginity, but then to also get married, right? To have kids, to have a steady job, uh, like the age thing, and man, it goes so deep because it's like we're playing a game against time, and yet time already won, right? Isn't that what it is, right? You have to do this before age that, and particularly, and it's something I'm going to keep speaking about because I think it's really important. It really is. Even if we're talking about antinatalism, looking at it from, the male side is easy enough. The female side is a whole clusterfuck, and I can't deny that. Women are sold so many contradictory messages on the media because it's now tailored for them. It's catered towards them. So it's going to keep them uncertain, but it's going to keep them invested at the same time. If a woman wants to be modest, wants to keep her virginity, wants to, not participate in like this current culture, she'll basically miss out on those interactions, which isn't really a bad thing, right? You do what you want, right? I'm not a slut shamer, right? But that's the thing. It's do what you want, right? Do the things that you want to do. Because time and time and time and time again, like you'll see on whatever social media platforms, hookup culture it was a patriarchal plot, or it was like it's so toxic and it's terrible for women, and like you didn't know this? You didn't know this? Really? You're using your own body with another person's body, and you didn't know this? Come on, man. We can talk about how the education system failed so many people, and it did, but a lot of people failed the education system as well, right? The tying of like human worth to childbearing is something that is heavily pushed onto women, heavily so, heavily so. And the more I'm paying attention to it, the more disgusted I become. Because like the men that are pushing these ideas onto the women don't actually like them. It's the same way the women who push, uh, a guy has to pay this and this and this for me before we get into a relationship, or we get into a relationship and he still has to do it. It's the same thing. You don't actually care about these people. You care about what they can produce for you. You care about what they can, how they can make your life convenient, but you're not thinking about how you can make their life convenient. As much as I think I tend to cover a lot of like alpha male manosphere type stuff on my channel, right? But you can firmly see my positions are like well against it, right? If that's the case, if I as a guy, right, and I believe in antinatalism, can say I'm not having kids and nobody's gonna pressure me into doing it, right? Done. What are they going to tell me? Your legacy. Uh, what else? Like really, that's the biggest argument they have. Like your legacy, or in some like rock for brain cultures, they'll be like, oh, you're not fit to lead because you have no children. What? What? Right? I can't say that. It's in a lot of places, actually. How many American presidents have you seen who are childless, right? Or how many can you recall that are childless or aren't married? Heck, most countries, right? That's usually what happens because they have to project that ideal of that natalist ideal, right? Even though like Bill Clinton wasn't an isolated incident. Bill Clinton and what's her name, Monica Lewinsky, that's not an isolated incident at all, right? But anyways, we have to stop tying human value to the most destructive parts of our being. Childbearing is the most destructive part of our being because we're not pushing anything better. We're not pushing forward into anything better. We're just finding more sophisticated ways to tiptoe around like mutually assured destruction. That's what we've reached. Now you tell me, if age is supposed to give you some kind of wisdom or something, how the hell are we still in this situation? This is why I don't like the respect your elders phrase is such absolute garbage. Absolute. Absolute just horse shit. Protect the children. We care about the children, and yet the vast majority of sexual abuses against children are done by family members. They're done by people who are known to the child, and they are literally uh, closely knit within the community of the child. It's the people who are closest to the child that are constantly abusing them. How can you tell me about caring about the child? Oh, and the best part, they'll bury it. They'll keep it a secret to protect the honor of the family, right? These are family secrets. These are skeletons in the closet. This is why I can never say like, oh, you're this old and you're thinking like this, unless I'm just feeling like insulting someone, but like, I rarely say it because I realize like age doesn't do that for you. Children, like, I was watching this documentary. This guy went into a slum and he was talking to kids about like the kinds of illicit drugs they do. And this one kid was like, he was like a 10-year-old. He was so charismatic. He like, I don't know if you can call that maturity, but it's skills that a lot of adults don't even have. And yet he has been through like inconceivable amounts of horror and trauma in his life. 10 years old, just 10, right? And it's in a way giving us such false privileges because you get to 18, you can drink, smoke, have sex legally with other 18-year-olds and above, okay? And then what? If you don't pay your bills, you're going to end up on the street. And if you end up on the street, you're probably going to end up in criminal activities, and then you're going to end up in jail, right? Big fucking accomplishment we made, big whoop, right? What is the net gain in this equation? There is none. For us, there is basically none. In fact, it's negative. Like it just keeps getting worse and worse. And it's, it's easy for us to observe these things and bring them up, but to actually see these kinds of changes happen, it's not going to happen the way we think it will, because a lot of people are just too set in their ways. It's more so that age thing that drives, like, especially modern day natalism. It's that age, the age of settling down, right? Because you'll have guys who are like, oh yeah, I'm in my 30s now. I've slept around enough or whatever. I've enjoyed the outside world. Time to find a wife and do the whole 1950s. She better not burn my steak dinner type thing. I feel like this is why it's such a huge barrier for like voluntary sterilization in terms of vasectomies and other types of infertility treatments are so looked down upon till now, because people want to have their cake and eat it too. And they want to have their children's cake and eat it too, right? We know the internet is forever, don't we? If you post cringe, it's going to stay there forever. Right? And if it's online long enough, somebody's gonna download it for sure. I have no pity for these OnlyFans mothers who are like e-begging and like whining about slut shaming and like what did you think was going to happen? What the heck? You didn't think. You didn't. And it's more so like even even the guys who complain about child support, like that simple topic on its own is just enough for me to. I, I would honestly just be hurling abuses at people like this. That's why I'd rather just not even engage, because it's not even it's not even gonna do me any good, and they're not going to change, right? Oh, my baby mama did this, or my baby mama did that, or my ex-wife did this. Like, bruh, did you think marriage was like a I don't know, like a candy store or something, or having children was like, I don't know, like what were you thinking? When you actually sit people down and ask them this question, they weren't. People are not thinking. That's why we're in such a shitty situation. We're not. We're not nearly thinking enough the way we should, right? We're not thinking about the consequences of our actions. We're not thinking about the cause and the effect. We're not thinking about, you know, more so your legacy. They're inheriting the national debt. Your children are being born and they owe like thousands of dollars to who knows which country or which corporation at this point. But what do you think national debt is? People will buy $1,000 phones on credit every single year. Every single year. But if you tell them to take that money, spend like, I don't know, like a third of it, have get an infertility treatment done, they'll look at you like you're out of your mind. This is horrific, man. And I feel like it's a reason why so many people who, once you understand the kinds of things that a lot of content creators, like, including me, these kinds of things that we talk about, there is no such thing as maturity after that, because you're doing side quests, right? The most I can tell you is you're in the side quest portion of your life. If these kinds of thoughts are resonating with you, there's nothing really else you're going to have revelations about. That's the fact. It's the fact, right? That's why there are some old people I truly, truly respect, because they understood that. very young, and they just kept that trajectory going. Obviously one of them being like George Carlin, right? You can tell what he was saying was, he's been saying it for literally decades, right? Since he was in his 30s. He's been saying it over and over and over again. And even after he died, I think, was it 2008? Was it? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like, even now, I'd be like, yo, this guy would have dropped some of the funniest quotes about this. But it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. I'd say don't let age be a hang up for you doing things that give you fulfillment. If you have an action figure collection, take care of it. If you have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, take care of them. If, what else? If you like watching cartoons, bloody watch them. I would literally be watching Cartoon Network right now if not for the quality of cartoons that have dropped tremendously. They literally, they look cartoonish, but I guess for a new generation, because obviously they're not my target demographic, right? But like, even if you watch the cartoons from 10 years ago, you could sit and probably even watch them with, like, I don't know, your uncle or your parents or something, right? They were that in depth. They were decent, right? But either way, don't let age, and especially age by whose standards, right? Relative to what or who. Don't let that be a barrier for you to do things that just give you that fulfillment in this life, right? Simple as that.